Welcome to the Deep Dive, where we take the sources you send us, the articles, the research, your notes, and dig into what's really important, finding those surprising nuggets and shedding some light on complex topics.
Yeah, it's really about cutting through the noise, getting straight to the core insights and the material you've gathered, and seeing how it all connects.
Exactly. And today, we're plunging into a stack of material you provided about one of the most chilling and, frankly, debated criminal cases ever, the Zodiac Killer.
Mm-hmm.
We've got articles, reports, analysis of his ciphers and letters, stuff spanning decades of this enduring mystery.
So our mission for this deep dive is, well, to explore the confirmed attacks, really dissect those cryptic and terrifying communications.
Yeah, the letters and codes.
Right. And look at how his methods seem to shift over time and unpack the key suspects and, the lingering questions that make this case so notoriously difficult.
It's such a complex web of facts, speculation, and just fear. Okay, let's unpack this.
So the sources we have really position the Zodiac Killer as a serial offender active in the San Francisco Bay Area, primarily from late 1968 through 1970.
Right. And known for targeting young couples, usually in isolated spots, Levers Lanes, lakeside areas, though he did branch out later.
He did, but what really set him apart, and the sources make this very clear, wasn't just the violence, it was his extraordinary effort to communicate directly with the police, with the public.
Through those letters and ciphers sent to newspapers. It was almost like a deliberate performance.
Exactly. He claimed victims, he mocked the authorities, he included these complex codes he dared them to break.
And then the communications just stopped.
Right.
Around 74.
Seemingly, yeah.
Yeah.
Which leads to that big question, did he die? Get locked up somewhere else? Or vanish?
So many questions.
Okay.
Let's start with what the sources identify as the likely beginning. The Lake Herman Road attack, December 20, 1968, near Vallejo.
Correct. This is where you have 17-year-old David Faraday and 16-year-old Betty Lou Jensen on a first date.
Parked on a gravel turnout, a known Lover's Lane, right?
That's right. And a light-colored car, maybe a Chevy Impala, a four-door, had been seen around there earlier.
Then, around 11:10 p.m., another car pulls up.
The driver gets out and, based on the evidence found, fires a .22 caliber weapon, could have been a rifle, could have been a handgun, used .22 LR ammo.
He walks behind their car first, shoots out a window, a tire.
Yeah, then approaches the passenger side as they're trying to get out. David Faraday was shot right there, near the car, single shot to the head, killed instantly.
And Betty Lou Jensen ran.
She ran, made it about 30 feet before she was hit multiple times, 5 bullets in her back. She died there.
The sources mentioned, 10 shots fired total? Only 6 hit the victims or the car?
Right. It suggests, competence maybe, but not necessarily expert marksmanship, especially hitting Jensen at what must have been close range as she ran.
Just a sudden, brutal attack, over in seconds.
Absolutely. Then a light-colored Chevy Impala was seen driving away quickly.
And the investigation?
Hit a dead end, really. No clear motive, no suspects identified at that time. It went cold.
But the silence didn't last that long, did it? The next major incident the sources point to is July 4th, 1969.
Correct. Just after midnight. This time it's at the Blue Rock Springs Golf Course parking lot, also near Vallejo.
And the victims?
19-year-old Michael Mageau and 22-year-old Darlene Farron. They were sitting in Darlene's car.
Mageau survived this one, right? He gave a description.
He did. He described a car, maybe a brown Ford Mustang or a Chevy Corvair, pulling up, idling, leaving, then coming back about 10 minutes later.
Just one person.
A lone man, yeah. Gets out, walks right up to their car, uses a flashlight, shines it in their faces.
Blinding them, obscuring his own face.
Exactly. Then fires 5 9mm rounds right through the passenger window. Both are hit.
Mageau somehow kicks himself into the back seat, gets hit again in the knee.
And then the really chilling part, the attacker walks back to his car, seems like he's leaving, but then comes back.
And shoots him again.
2 more shots into each victim, just brutal.
But Mageau, incredibly, survives.
He does.
Yeah.
Despite severe injuries, he manages to turn on the car's blinkers, falls out as the killer drives away. He catches a brief glimpse of the attacker's profile as he leaves.
And his description, what did he say?
Around 5'8", he thought. Heavy set, but stocky, not overweight, fat, at least 195 pounds. Said he had a large, prominent face.
And Darlene Farron.
Tragically, she died in the ambulance on the way to the hospital.
And then the phone call. This is where it shifts, right?
Absolutely. Around 12:40 a.m., maybe 40 minutes after the attack, a man calls the Vallejo Police Department headquarters.
And just calmly says,
I want to report a double murder. Gives the precise location, describes the car, claims the weapon was a 9mm Luger, though ballistics later complicate that picture.
and then the bombshell.
Drops the bombshell. I also killed those kids last year, explicitly linking himself to Lake Herman Road.
Wow. And the dispatcher noted he sounded calm.
Calm, consistent, almost like he was reading from a script, rehearsed.
And the call was traced.
To a payphone, remarkably close to the sheriff's office, actually.
So investigators obviously focused on McGo's account. But was there also talk about Darlene Ferrin maybe knowing the killer?
There was speculation, yeah. Friends mentioned she'd gotten silent phone calls, possibly being stalked after the first murders. Some people, like author Robert Graysmith, strongly believed she knew him.
But others doubted that. Her husband, police.
Right. They weren't convinced. A potential stalker suspect was investigated but eventually cleared, so it remained an open question.
Okay, so barely weeks after Blue Rock Springs, the communication blitz begins. July 31st, 1969. Letters arrive.
3 newspapers. The San Francisco Chronicle, the Vallejo Times-Herald, and the San Francisco Examiner.
And in these letters, he claims responsibility for both attacks, Lake Herman Road and Blue Rock Springs.
Explicitly. And to prove it, he provides these incredibly intimate details, stuff that hadn't been released publicly.
Like what?
Specific ammo brands he used, the exact number of shots fired in each attack, the positions the victims were found in, the fact McGo was shot in the knee, even the pattern on Darlene Ferrin's pants. Stuff only the killer would likely know.
Chilling. And each letter had part of a cryptogram.
1/3 of a cryptogram in each. And he demanded they be published on the front page by August 1st.
With a threat.
A threat, yeah. Said he'd go on a killing rampage if they didn't comply.
And this is the first time we see the symbol, the crossed circle.
Yes, that becomes his signature. Also, interestingly, he claimed a 9mm Luger in the phone call, but the letters mention firing at least 9 shots. A typical Luger magazine only holds 8.
So maybe a different 9mm, like a Browning high power.
Could be. Or maybe he reloaded, or it was another 9mm model entirely. It adds to the confusion.
He specifically said the cipher contained his identity.
In the Chronicle letter, yeah. Added that hook. In this cipher is my identity. Framing it as the key to who he was, not just a random puzzle.
So the papers published them.
They did. The letters and the ciphers. Police, meanwhile, asked him publicly for more details to prove it was really him.
Any forensic evidence on the letters?
Fingerprints?
No usable prints found on the letters themselves, but there was a possible print found on one of the cipher blocks. The FBI got involved at this point, initially thinking maybe extortion, and that police request for more details. That prompted the next big communication, the letter that really cemented the name.
Arrived August 4th, 1969, a direct reply.
Exactly. A 3-page handwritten letter, this time to the San Francisco Examiner, and for the very first time, he signed off.
The Zodiac.
The Zodiac, that's the debut of the name.
And he provided more proof points about Blue Rock Springs.
He did, but some of the details he gave actually contradicted McGo's account or other witness reports.
Like what?
Claiming the car window was rolled down, saying McGo was thrashing violently. McGo was basically paralyzed by the shots, claiming he drove away slowly when witnesses said quickly.
So, deliberate lies. Memory errors. Trying to mislead. Could be any of those. Hard to say. He also claimed he interacted with police near the phone booth after the call.
Which might have been true, given where the call was traced from.
Possibly. And he explained his aiming method for Lake Herman Road, taping a small pencil flashlight to the gun barrel, aiming for the dark spot in the beam.
And he complained about not getting enough press attention.
Yeah, complained he wasn't getting front page coverage initially, clearly wanted the spotlight.
Handwriting analysis confirmed it was the same guy.
Yes, same author as the July letters. Latent prints were found on this letter too, but again, never matched anyone in the system.
Okay, so what about that 408 symbol cryptogram from the first letters?
That became huge news. It was solved incredibly quickly, actually, by August 8th, by a high school teacher and his wife, Donald and Betty Hardin.
And the solution was verified. What did it say?
Verified, yes. The message was deeply disturbing. Revealed his motive, or at least his claimed motive.
Which was?
I like killing people because it is so much fun. It goes on. It is more fun than killing wild game in the forest because man is the most dangerous animal of all.
Dangerous spelled wrong.
Yeah, lots of misspellings throughout. To kill something gives me the most thrilling experience. It is even better than getting your rocks off with the girl. The best part of it is when I die, I will be reborn in paradise, and all the I have killed will become my slaves. I will not give you my name because you will try to slow down or stop my collecting of slaves for my afterlife.
Slaves. Paradise. Sloy. Wow.
And it ended with 18 symbols that still haven't been deciphered. Still a mystery what, if anything, they mean.
Did anyone else try to claim credit for solving it?
Well, later, an anonymous concerned citizen mailed a key to the cipher to the Vallejo police. But the FBI figured it was probably just copied from the newspaper after the hardened solution was published. Another dead end, though there was a palm print on that envelope too. Never matched.
Okay, so the name is out there, the motive, the threats. What happens next?
Just over a month later, September 27th, 1969, the Zodiac strikes again. But this one was dramatically different.
Lake Berryessa, right, Napa County.
Exactly. The victims were Cecilia Shepard and Brian Hartnell, both Pacific Union College students. They were just having a picnic on an isolated peninsula there, Twin Oak Ridge.
Had anyone seen anything suspicious earlier?
Yes. A man matching a general description, about 6 feet, over 200 pounds, short, dark hair, had been seen earlier that day, watching some women sunbathing from a light blue Chevy. Unclear if it was him, but it fits.
And then, around twilight, a man approaches Shepard and Hartnell.
Described as heavy-set. He apparently hid behind some trees first, then emerged wearing this really bizarre costume.
The hood!
The hood. A homemade black, four-cornered executioner-style hood, with clip-on sunglasses over the eye holes and the cross-circle symbol sewn onto the bib.
Holding a gun.
Holding a large, semi-automatic pistol, yes. But according to Hartnell, who survived, he spoke in a calm, monotone voice, very controlled initially.
What did he want? Money.
He demanded money and car keys? Took some coins Hartnell had, but then just dropped the keys. He spun this story about being an escaped convict from Montana or Colorado, needing their car to get to Mexico.
Did Hartnell believe him?
No, Hartnell thought it was just a ruse, a way to control them.
But then it escalated. Horrifically.
It did. He produced pre-cut lengths of plastic clothesline, demanded Cecilia tie Brian up. She was shaking so badly he got angry, shouted at her. Then he tied her up and tightened Brian's knots. Hartnell specifically noted the killer's hands were visibly shaking during the binding part.
Like he was nervous? Or excited?
Hard to say, but then the attacker just announced, "I'm gonna have to stab you people."
Just like that. He switched from the gun to a knife.
Pulled out a knife, yeah. Described as a large double-edged bayonet, maybe 10, 12 inches long. Hartnell thought it looked damaged or possibly handmade.
And he attacked them both.
Stabbed Brian 6 times in the back, then Cecilia 10 times, left them both for dead.
Cecilia died later. Brian survived.
Cecilia died 2 days later in the hospital. Brian, incredibly, survived his wounds.
And after the attack, the killer left a message.
Walked over to Brian's white Volkswagen Carmen Ghia and used a black marker pen to scrawl on the door.
The symbol again.
The cross-circle symbol, yeah. And the dates and locations of the first 2 attacks. Vallejo 12/20/68/7/469. Then he added the current one. 16/27/69 6.30 by knife.
Interesting he specified by knife, and he didn't mention Riverside.
No mention of Riverside on the car door list. That becomes relevant later.
And just like Blue Rock Springs, he made a call afterwards.
Confirmed the link despite the very different MO. At 7:40 p.m. that evening, he called the Napa Police Department from a payphone near the station.
What did he see this time?
Again, very calm. "I want to report a murder. No, a double murder." Gave the location, described the car, then said quietly, "I'm the one that did it," and just hung up, leaving the receiver dangling.
Any evidence from the scene or the phone?
Clear footprints were found near the car and the attack site. Size 10.5 wing walkers, a military or law enforcement style boot, and a palm print was lifted from the payphone receiver. But it was apparently smudged by the responding technician, making it unusable for comparison. A real lost opportunity there.
So this attack is a huge departure. Daylight, close interaction, binding, a knife instead of a gun. Did investigators immediately link it to Zodiac?
Well, the call and the message on the car door were pretty strong links. But yeah, the MO change was significant. Some initially questioned it, especially since he didn't claim it in a letter right away.
But most believe it was him.
The consensus among investigators, then and now, is yes, it was the Zodiac. Maybe it shows an evolution in his methods, maybe escalating boldness, or maybe just seizing an opportunity that presented itself differently.
The hood seems significant, too, in daylight.
Likely for disguise, absolutely.
Wow.
Maybe fear of being seen more clearly than in his night attacks. And Hartnell's observation about the shaking hands, It suggests maybe the frenzy of the stabbing wasn't as controlled as the shootings, a potential glimpse behind the mask, perhaps.
Fascinating and terrifying. Okay, so Lake Berryessa is late September 69. What's next? He doesn't wait long.
No, just 2 weeks later, October 11th, 1969. And this time, he completely changes the game again, moves right into the heart of San Francisco.
The taxi driver murder. Paul Stine.
Paul Stine, 29 years old, picked up a fare downtown, headed towards the upscale Presidio Heights neighborhood, corner of Washington and Maple Street.
And as the cab stopped,
The passenger shot him, point blank in the head. Single shot.
were there witnesses?
Yes. Teenagers across the street saw what happened after the shot. They saw the killer moving around in the front seat, seemed to be taking something, wallet, keys.
And cutting the shirt.
Yeah, cutting a piece from the back of Stine's blood-soaked shirt, then meticulously wiping down the cab inside and out before just walking away calmly up the street.
And this is where that huge police blunder happened, right? The radio call.
One of the biggest what-ifs of the case. The initial police dispatcher broadcast described the suspect as a black male.
But the witnesses saw a white male.
Correct. And responding patrolmen Don Fook and Eric Zelms actually saw a white male matching the later correct description walking away from the scene, just a block or so away.
But they didn't stop him.
They didn't stop him because they were looking for a black male based on the faulty dispatch. They might have even had a brief exchange with him. He just walked off into the night. A massive missed opportunity.
What was the description the patrolman gave later?
White male adult, 35 to 45 years old, about 5'10", stocky build, maybe 180, 200 pounds. Medium complexion, light-colored hair, possibly reddish blonde, wearing glasses, wearing dark clothing.
And evidence from the cab. Fingerprints.
Numerous usable latent prints were lifted from the cab, inside and out. Some were even in blood, but none ever matched anyone in state or federal databases.
Anything else found?
A pair of size 7 leather gloves were found in the cab, but it was never clear if they belonged to the killer or maybe Stine or a previous passenger.
And the bullet. Same caliber as Blue Rock Springs.
Initially thought maybe a .38, but ballistics confirmed it was a 9mm, same caliber, possibly even the same weapon used at Blue Rock Springs.
And this case brought in some key investigators.
Yes, SFPD inspectors Bill Armstrong and Dave Toshi were assigned. They would become central figures in the Zodiac investigation for years.
Okay, so a murder in the city, a potentially crucial police error, and then the proof arrives.
2 days later, October 13th, a letter lands at the San Francisco Chronicle. The envelope sealed with the cross-circle symbol instead of a return address.
The Stine letter.
That's right. Inside, the author claims responsibility for the taxi driver murder, and as undeniable proof.
He includes a piece of Stine's shirt.
A blood-stained piece of Paul Stine's shirt absolutely confirmed it was him, and he'd continue sending pieces in later letters. Sources estimate about 104 square inches of the shirt are still missing, kept as trophies, presumably.
And in this letter, he also claimed the other attacks, including Berryessa.
Explicitly. He listed Lake Herman Road, Blue Rock Springs, and Lake Berryessa, removing any lingering doubt for most investigators that Berryessa was his work.
And then he issued that terrifying threat. The school bus.
Probably his most infamous threat. School children make nice targets, he wrote. I think I shall wipe out a school bus some morning. Just shoot out the front tire, plus then pick off the kiddies as they come bouncing out.
Just horrific. That must have caused panic.
Widespread panic. And he mocked the police hunt again, even claiming he'd spoken to those patrolmen after the Stine murder, possibly directing them the wrong way. Whether that's true or bravado, it rubbed salt in the wound of that missed opportunity.
So this attack really changed everything, bringing the terror into the city itself.
Exactly. It wasn't just isolated lovers' lanes anymore. It felt like he could strike anywhere. The school bus threat, which he later illustrated with a diagram, became this ongoing source of fear in the Bay Area.
And the composite sketch was released soon after.
Based on the teenagers' descriptions, amended slightly by the input from Patrolman Fook, released October 18th. The case blew up nationally. This is when other departments, like Riverside PD, started looking seriously at potential links in their own cold cases.
Like Cheri Jo Bates, the RPD chief sent a summary to SFPD.
He did, highlighting similarities. But somehow, that summary got misplaced within SFPD at the time. Another potential connection missed early on. The Zodiac definitely kept the pressure on, communication-wise, through the rest of '69. There was that strange incident on October 20th.
The TV call-in show. with Melvin Belly.
Right. A man claiming to be the Zodiac called the Oakland Police Department demanded prominent lawyer Melvin Belly appear on Jim Dunbar's local morning TV talk show, AM San Francisco.
And Belly actually went on.
He did. The caller phoned the show multiple times. On air, he identified himself only as Sam, spoke briefly to Belly.
What does Sam say?
Sounded distressed, said things like, "I don't want to go to the gas chamber, I'm sick, I need help." But the conversation was really abrupt, evasive. Belly tried to keep him talking, arrange a meeting, but Sam just gave short answers, wouldn't give his name or location.
Prevented tracing the call.
Exactly. He proposed meeting Belly later, but never showed up.
Was it really the Zodiac?
Well, the calls were eventually traced to a patient at the Napa State Mental Hospital. And much later, when the 340 cipher was finally solved in 2020...
The one sent earlier in '69.
Yes, the decoded message actually includes the line, "That wasn't me on the TV show." So the Zodiac himself seemed to disavow that Sam caller. Whether he just didn't like the portrayal or it genuinely wasn't him, we don't know.
Interesting. Okay, so after the Sam incident, what were the next confirmed communications? Early November '69.
Yeah, the dripping pen card arrives at the Chronicle. It's a greeting card, kind of playing on this sorry I haven't written theme, but with a sinister twist.
And it included another cipher. The big one.
The really big one, the 340-character cipher. This one would remain unsolved for over 50 years.
And it also had a message. The first body count.
Right. A chilling tally. Did July, October 7.
7 victims. But police only officially linked him to 5 deaths by then. Faraday, Jensen, Farron, Shepard, Stine.
Exactly. It immediately created a puzzle. Who are the other 2? Was he counting the survivors, Mago and Hartnell, or were there other unknown victims from that period? We still don't know for sure.
Did this card have another piece of Stine's shirt? The sources seem a bit unclear.
Some accounts suggest it might have. Others place the next piece with the letter that followed just days later.
The bus bomb letter.
Yes, a much longer 7-page letter. This one definitely included another piece of Stine's shirt.
And this is where he really detailed the bus bomb threat.
Detailed it and included a schematic drawing. He reiterated the claim of 7 victims through October.
And he seemed angry. Said police were lying about him.
Yeah, expressed anger. Claimed that because police were lying, he would now change his methods, make future killings look like routine robberies, killings of anger, plus a few fake accidents.
The deliberate attempt to hide his tracks.
Yeah.
Make things harder to connect.
Seems like it. A chilling statement of intent.
Yeah.
He also boasted about using disguises, using airplane cement on his fingertips to avoid leaving prints.
Fingerprint guards.
Right. And buying tools through mail order to avoid being traced.
And he doubled down on mocking the police about the Stine incident.
Explicitly claimed again he'd spoken to the patrolmen, even directed them away. Provided his supposed dialogue.
Hey, Blue Pig, I was in the park. 2 cops pulled a goof about 3 minutes after I left the cab. He demanded that part be printed, really rubbing it in.
And the bomb diagram, what was the plan?
The death machine, he called it. Designed to be attached underneath a school bus, possibly triggered remotely or by a timer. He included drawings of the components, taunted police about where he might have hidden it at the site or in my basement.
The signature on this one was different too. Modified, yeah. Added 5 X's below the crossed circle. The meaning of those X's. Still debated. Could be victims, attempts, something else entirely.
And he included another proof point.
Dared police. Asked the Vallejo cop about my electric gun sight, almost certainly referring back to his flashlight explanation for the Lake Herman Road attack.
Okay, one more communication noted for 1969. Around Christmas.
Yes, a card sent directly to Melvin Belly, the lawyer from the TV show incident.
A Christmas card. Seriously.
A Christmas card? Contained a letter inside, and crucially, another confirmed piece of Paul Stine's bloody shirt. Authenticated it immediately.
But the tone was different. More desperate.
Very different. It read like a plea for help. Please help me, I cannot reach out because of this thing in me won't let me. Talked about struggling to control his urges, being afraid he'd take his 9th plus, possibly 10th victim.
9th and 10th, so the count keeps going up.
Right. He mentioned having trouble building the bomb, but threatened he might use it soon if he waited too long.
Was it genuine desperation or another act?
That's the question. The handwriting looked a bit different, maybe deliberately altered, but his usual style returned near the end. And including the Stine swatch. It feels calculated, planned, despite the desperate tone.
So maybe not so out of control after all.
Perhaps not. This was his last known contact with Belly, and it alluded to an 8th victim somewhere, adding to the mystery count.
Okay, so that takes us into 1970. Investigators and reporters like Paul Avery at the Chronicle start looking back at older cases, right? Especially Riverside.
Exactly. That connection really gains traction, partly prompted by Zodiac's own later hints and an anonymous tip. The focus sharpens on the murder of Cheri Jo Bates back on October 30th, 1966, in Riverside, Southern California.
What prompted Avery to look into it specifically in late 1970?
An anonymous letter sent to him right after he received that threatening Halloween card from Zodiac. This letter urged him to look into the Bates case, citing similarities.
Such as?
Letters sent to newspapers around the time of the murder, and specifically similar erratic printing found on a desk at the Riverside City College Library, where Bates was a student.
So Avery digs in.
He does. He travels to Riverside, finds that summary letter from the RPD chief that SFPD had misplaced.
Finally.
Right. And arranges a meeting bringing together detectives from San Francisco, Solano County, Vallejo, and Napa County.
What was the consensus? Was Bates a Zodiac victim?
Opinion was divided and remained so. SFPD Inspector Armstrong reportedly felt the link was strong. A key state handwriting expert, Sherwood Morrill, later examined writing found on that library desk and believed it was written by the Zodiac.
The Riverside PD wasn't convinced.
Less so. They pointed to the sheer brutality. Bates was stabbed over 40, maybe 50 times. They saw it as a crime of passion, a rage killing, very different from Zodiac's usually quicker, more efficient attacks with guns, or even the Berryessa stabbing.
What are the arguments for and against the link?
Well, against the MO is different. The Bates killer disabled the car, apparently conversed with her, used a small pocket knife, seemed maybe less planned than Zodiac's attacks, for Lake Berryessa did involve interaction and a knife, bridging the gap somewhat. Could Bates have been a very early, less refined Zodiac crime before he settled on his main MO?
And Zodiac himself hinted at it later.
In a 1971 letter, he refers to police finding my Riverside activity, which many take as a claim for Bates and maybe implies other unsolved crimes there too. It's a strong circumstantial link, but no definitive proof.
Okay, what about other potential early crimes? Gaviota Beach.
That one also surfaced. June 1963, way back. A Santa Barbara cold case involving a young couple, Robert Domingos and Linda Edwards, shot on an isolated beach. Their bodies were then moved and partially burned in a structure nearby.
What were the potential similarities there?
Attacking a young couple in an isolated spot, again, use of pre-cut rope for binding was found at the scene, similar to Berryessa, and the ammunition was .22 calibers, same as Lake Herman Road.
But differences too.
Big differences. The handling of the bodies, setting them on fire, the killer clearly lingering at the scene trying to destroy evidence. That's very unlike the Zodiac's typical MO of killing and leaving quickly.
Did Zodiac ever plan this one?
Never. If it was him, it would be his earliest known attack, predating even Bates. It's considered a possibility by some, but the evidence is much weaker than the Bates connection, according to most sources.
Okay, back to 1970. The Zodiac is active. March 22nd, the Kathleen Johns incident.
Right. A really terrifying encounter. Kathleen Johns was driving from San Bernardino to Petaluma with her infant daughter, Jennifer, near Modesto on Highway 132.
What happened?
Late at night, a man in another car started flashing his lights, honking, signaling her to pull over. He told her one of her rear wheels was wobbling dangerously.
A good Samaritan.
Seemed like it. He offered to tighten the lug nuts. She waited in the car. He fiddled around back there, then said it was fixed. But when she drove off, the wheel almost immediately came completely loose. He'd actually removed the nuts. Exactly. He then conveniently reappeared, offered her and her baby a ride to the nearest service station.
But he didn't take her to one.
No. He drove aimlessly around the dark, rural roads near Tracy for an hour and a half, maybe 2 hours, past multiple open gas stations. When she asked why they weren't stopping, he gave evasive answers like, not the right ones.
Did he say anything else scary?
Johns reported becoming terrified, especially after a chilling exchange. She asked if he always went around helping people like this. His reply, by the time I get through with them, they won't need my help.
Oh, that's horrifying. How did she escape?
She seized an opportunity. When he briefly stopped the car, maybe at an intersection or slowing for a turn, she grabbed her baby, jumped out, and ran into a nearby field, hiding in the darkness. He apparently waited a bit, maybe looked for her, then drove off.
And she identified him later.
From a police station in Patterson, yes. She saw a composite sketch wanted poster on the wall and immediately identified the man as the Zodiac.
And her car
was found later completely burned out, suggesting the abductor returned to destroy any evidence.
Is this incident universally accepted as Zodiac?
While John's account had some minor variations over the years when retold, the core story is generally accepted by investigators and researchers, especially since Zodiac later claimed it in a letter. It fits with his November '69 threat to make crimes look like routine robberies, fake accidents. Some believe this was the last time anyone saw the Zodiac and survived.
A chilling possibility. Now, there was another murder around this time, April 1970, that had Zodiac elements but wasn't him. Robert Salem.
Right. Robert Salem found murdered in his San Francisco apartment, brutally stabbed, nearly decapitated, and ear cut off. Very violent.
And the Zodiac connection.
Slogans were painted in blood on the wall: Satan saves, and crucially, Zodiac.
A copycat. We're trying to frame him.
Likely a copycat or someone trying to leverage the fear. A man named Stanley Dean Baker later confessed, claiming it was part of a satanic cult ritual, but he was never charged. The case remains technically unsolved, but it's not considered a genuine Zodiac crime. The slogans were likely just meant to add confusion and panic. Okay, so the real Zodiac was still communicating in April 1970. The "My Name Is" letter arrived April 20th.
Right, at the Chronicle again. He started by asking if they'd solved his last cipher, the 340.
Which they hadn't, not for another 50 years.
And he included a new cipher.
A short one.
A very short one, just 13 symbols. And he claimed, "My name is Cock," followed by the symbols, implying this short cipher held his actual name.
Has that one ever been solved?
Never. Still a mystery. He also asked about the reward money being offered for his capture.
And denied bombing a police station.
Yeah, there had been an unrelated bombing at a police station in SF's Park Station. He denied it was him. That wasn't me. Calling police blue meanies, maybe another Beatles nod.
Good.
Said there was more glory in killing a cop than a Sid.
Oh.
Sid claimed he couldn't do the bus bomb because of rain.
Yeah, offered that as an excuse. And included another detailed diagram of a new, potentially improved bomb design.
And the victim count went up again.
Claimed 10 victims by this point. SFPD 0, Zodiac 10, still only 5 confirmed deaths. A week later, another piece of mail. April 28th postmark. The Dragon card.
A greeting card. Like the dripping pen card.
Yeah, this one was described as a Jolly Roger card, maybe with a dragon illustration. It didn't have the usual, "This is the Zodiac speaking" opening.
What did it say?
Started with, "I hope you enjoy yourselves when I have my blast." Then on the back, made that bizarre demand.
For people to wear Zodiac buttons.
Exactly, like peace symbols, but with his cross circle. It would cheer me up considerably if I saw a lot of people wearing my button. Please, no nasty ones like Melvin's. Still annoyed about Belly, apparently.
Any forensic evidence here?
Fingerprints were reportedly found on this card, but again, never matched, or it couldn't be determined if they were the killers or just from mail handlers. Authorities did publicly reveal the bomb threat around this time, April 29th, but kept the actual schematics unpublished until Graysmith's book in 1986. Moving into the summer of 1970, June. The button letter.
Still mad about the buttons.
Apparently so. Expressed anger people weren't wearing them. Claimed since school was out, he couldn't carry out the bus bomb, so he'd punish them in another way.
Oh. Did he claim another attack?
He did. Claimed, "I shot a man sitting in a parked car with a .38.
And this was right after a police officer was killed.
Just 6 days after SFPD officer Richard Redtich was shot and killed with a .38 while sitting in his patrol car, a huge event in the city.
Was it Zodiac?
Police strongly disputed it. There was a witness to the Redtich murder who identified a different man. The consensus is Zodiac was likely taking false credit for this high-profile cop killing to sow more fear and confusion.
And the victim count in this letter?
Claim 12 now. This letter also included that Phillips 66 road map of the Bay Area.
With the diagram on Mount Diablo.
Right. A clock-face-like diagram centered on the summit of Mount Diablo with the Zodiac symbol and instructions set to Mag-N, magnetic north. He said this map, combined with a new 32-symbol cipher included in the letter, would reveal the location of a buried bomb.
Another cipher. Has that one been solved?
Nope. The 32-symbol cipher remains unsolved. He gave them until next fall to dig it up. The meaning of the map and cipher puzzle is still debated. Was it a real bomb location, a symbolic location, or just another game? Then came July 1970. 2 more letters in quick succession. First, July 24th, the Kathleen Johns letter.
This is where he officially claimed that abduction.
Yes. Referred to giving Johns and her baby an interesting ride, and crucially, he mentioned buying her car afterwards.
A detail not widely known then.
Exactly. That detail convinced many investigators this letter was genuine and confirmed his involvement in the Johns incident. Okay. And the second July letter, just days later, July 27th. the littlest letter.
Still demanding buttons.
Still demanding people wear his NAST buttons, and made a new threat.
Against his slaves.
Threatened to torture his now claimed 13 slaves in paradise if his demands weren't met. Even detailed some gruesome torture methods he supposedly planned for the afterlife. Claimed 13 victims now.
And this one had that weird song parody.
A very disturbing, twisted parody of I've Got a Little List from the Gilbert and Sullivan opera, The Mikado. He basically listed categories of people he enjoyed killing or planned to kill. Dark, taunting humor.
Did it offer any clues?
Well, a postscript clarified the Ent Diablo cipher clue from the previous letter. The Ment Diablo code concerns radians plus hashtag inches along the radians, making the map puzzle even more complex, involving trigonometry. Still didn't lead to a solution, though. After that flurry in July, things quieted down communication-wise for a few months, until October 1970. 2 unusual postcards arrive.
The 13 holes postcard first, October 5th.
Right. Not a letter, a postcard. It was collage made of words cut from magazines or newspapers, and it had exactly 13 holes punched down the side.
Reinforcing the 13 victim claim, what did the message say?
Phrases like, "Dear editor, you'll hate me, but I've got to tell you," and "There are reports city police peg cops are closing in on me. Frick crap. I'm crack-proof. What is the price tag now?"
Crack-proof. That word comes up again later, right?
Yes. It was initially suspected as maybe a hoax, but investigators later deemed it likely authentic because of the 13 victim count consistency and that specific phrase crack-proof reappearing in confirmed 1971 communications. Showed him feeling the pressure, but still defiant. And the second October postcard, the really famous one, the Halloween card.
Yeah, sent October 27th, addressed personally to Chronicle reporter Paul Avery, misspelling his name Averly.
This one was visually striking. A store-bought Halloween card, but heavily altered by Zodiac. The envelope had a symbol and the words, "Sorry, no cipher."
What was on the card itself?
Inside, it read, "From your secret pal," and had pasted text, "I feel it in my bones. You ache to know my name, and so I'll clue you in." Then, handwritten, he listed methods. But then why spoil the game? Happy Halloween. He also drew symbols and wrote things like paradise slaves, by fire, by gun, by knife, by rope.
And the back.
Had a drawing of a tree with 13 eyes looking out. Peekaboo, you are doomed.
Oh, yeah.
And a skeleton drawn on it labeled 14, maybe implying a 14th victim or a future one. More symbols.
This was seen as a direct threat to Avery.
Absolutely. Avery took it very seriously. It got huge media attention. And it was this card that directly pointed that anonymous tipster to write to Avery, suggesting he look into the Cheri Jo Bates case in Riverside. So it had a major impact on the investigation's direction. So after that Halloween card and the Bates connection heating up, there's a gap in confirmed communications, about 5 months.
Right, until March 1971. A letter is sent, but not to the Bay Area this time.
Correct. March 2010, 1971. A letter arrives at the Los Angeles Times, first confirmed contact outside the SF Bay Area, postmarked from Pleasanton, CA.
What did this one say? Still taunting.
Definitely taunting. Started with, like, "I have always said I am crack-proof," referencing that postcard phrase. Told police they needed to work faster.
And did he mention Riverside?
Explicitly. Gave police credit, almost backhandedly, for finding my Riverside activity. But added they were only finding the easy ones. There are a hell of a lot more down there.
Wow. So, confirming involvement in Bates and hinting at more unsolved crimes in that area.
That's how many interpret it. A potentially huge claim, if true. He also claimed 17-plus victims by this point.
Why write to the LA Times?
He said it was because they didn't bury me on the back pages like the SF papers sometimes did. Still craving that prominent publicity.
Is this letter considered definitely authentic?
Mostly, yes. The handwriting was deemed consistent. Though, like many Zodiac communications, some sources mention lingering debate or speculation over the years about potential forgery, maybe by the anonymous Riverside tipster or someone else trying to stir things up, but generally accepted as genuine. Okay, then just a week later, March 29th, 1971, another piece of mail, the Sierra Club postcard, often cited as the last confirmed communication for years.
Right. This one was intercepted by the Postal Service. Addressed to Avery again.
Addressed to Paul Averly at the Chronicle again, yeah. It was another collage-style postcard using newspaper cutouts with hole punch details. It included a pasted-on sketch or ad for the Sierra Club condominium complex near Lake Tahoe.
What did the text say?
Typed phrases like "sought victim 12 around in the snow and peek through the pines," and the Zodiac symbol.
Victim 12. What's the significance of Tahoe and Victim 12?
It's unsolved. But there's a strong potential link speculated here to the disappearance of Donna Lass.
Who was she?
a nurse who vanished from South Lake Tahoe on September 6, 1970. She had previously lived in San Francisco, worked at the same hospital as a possible Zodiac victim earlier, and even lived near the Paul Stine murder scene for a time.
So the card seems to imply she was Zodiac's 12th victim, killed around in the snow in Tahoe.
That's the implication. But unlike the Stine letter, Zodiac offered no proof, no piece of clothing, no verifiable detail, just this cryptic, suggestive postcard.
And the authenticity of this card is debated too, more so than others.
Yes. While elements like the handwriting, the Averly misspelling, and the hole punch pattern seemed consistent with Zodiac, a former investigator named Harvey Hines made a controversial claim decades later in 1999 that he had actually forged this postcard himself to try and stimulate leads.
Seriously? So maybe it wasn't Zodiac at all?
It adds a huge layer of doubt to this specific communication. Whether Hines's claim is true or not is debated, but it muddies the water significantly regarding this potentially final confirmed letter from the early 70s.
Wow. Okay, so the confirmed trail goes cold, or at least debatable, after March 71. Let's talk suspects. Over the years, many names have come up, but one stands out in the sources: Arthur Leigh Allen.
Allen is definitely the most prominent, long-standing suspect. He was first questioned way back in October 1969, shortly after the Stine murder.
What initially drew attention to him?
A former friend, Don Cheney, reported suspicions based on things Allen had allegedly said, like wanting to call himself Zodiac, talking about hunting people with a flashlight on his gun, mentioning the plot of The Most Dangerous Game. Plus, Allen lived and worked in Vallejo near the early crime scenes.
What did the investigation find?
Strong circumstantial evidence, certainly. He owned firearms, including handguns that could match calibers used. He wore a Zodiac brand watch. He apparently made incriminating statements or bragged to others over the years. His boot size matched the wing walker prints found at Lake Berryessa.
Was he interviewed again later?
Yes, more extensively in August 1971. He showed a lot of knowledge about the case from media reports, but denied involvement and didn't reveal any non-public crime details. Searches of his trailer yielded things like animal dissection notes and formulas for bombs, but no smoking gun linking him directly to the attacks.
What about the claim from his cellmate, Spinelli?
Ralph Spinelli, who shared a cell with Allen on unrelated charges in the late 70s, claimed in 1990 that Allen had essentially confessed to him. This led to another search warrant in 1991.
What did they find then?
A royal typewriter with an elite type, similar to the one used for those anonymous 1966 Riverside letters, possibly linked to the Bates case. Also some handwritten notes with symbols, but again, nothing definitively tying him to the Zodiac murders.
And Allen died when?
Died of natural causes in August 1992. He remains the prime suspect in the eyes of many investigators, like Robert Graysmith, who wrote the famous book, but the case against him was never strong enough for charges.
What about survivor identifications? Did Mageau or Hartnell identify him?
Inconclusive, really. Years later, in 1998, Michael Mageau did pick Allen out of a photo lineup as the man who shot him. But that was nearly 30 years after the attack. Brian Hartnell listened to Allie's voice and looked at photos. He felt there were similarities to the Berryessa attacker, but couldn't make a positive identification.
And the physical evidence. DNA, handwriting.
This is where the case against Allen weakens significantly. DNA testing in 2002 on saliva from the stamps and envelopes used by Zodiac excluded Arthur Leigh Allen. It also excluded Don Cheney, the friend who first accused him.
So the DNA doesn't match. What about handwriting?
Multiple handwriting experts compared Allen's known writing samples to the Zodiac letters and concluded they did not match.
But wasn't Allen ambidextrous? Could he disguise his writing?
That's the counter-argument proponents make, that he could have written differently with his non-dominant hand. But based on the known samples, the expert consensus was no match.
Okay, so strong circumstantial case, but physical evidence points away. Who else is mentioned as a major suspect? Lawrence Kane.
Lawrence Kane, sometimes referred to by aliases like Kay or Kane, is another significant person of interest mentioned in some sources. Kathleen Johns, the woman abducted in 1970, tentatively identified Kane from a photo lineup in 1992 as possibly being her attacker.
Any other links?
Some circumstantial connections. He worked in the same hotel as Donna Lass in Lake Tahoe around the time she disappeared. He lived in SF, near where Stine was killed. He was also investigated as a suspect in a separate 1974 murder. But again, like Allen, very little concrete evidence directly links Kane to the confirmed Zodiac attacks. He passed away in 2010.
So, multiple suspects, lots of circumstantial threads, but nothing definitive on anyone.
That's the story of the Zodiac investigation, unfortunately. Leads that seem promising but ultimately don't pan out or lack that crucial piece of direct evidence.
Okay, let's get back to the communications. After that debated Sierra Club card in March 71, there's a long silence, right?
Yeah.
Until 1974.
A long silence from authenticated letters, yes. Then, in the first 7 months of 1974, a series of letters arrived. Some were later confirmed as Zodiac, others remained questionable. A key one was the Exorcist letter, January 29th, 1974.
Why that name?
It referenced the hugely popular movie The Exorcist that had just come out. It also included a quote from the Mikado, again, Titwillow, and a strange, symbol-like hieroglyph.
Did it claim victims? Make
It
threats.
claimed 37 victims now, a huge jump, and contained threats if the letter wasn't published. The envelope had unusual details, too, like specific stamps, UPS stickers, typed paragraphs mixed with handwriting.
Was this one confirmed as Zodiac?
Yes, but not until 1978. Handwriting analysis eventually authenticated it, even though it lacked the usual "this is the Zodiac speaking" intro or the cross-circle signature initially. The hieroglyph remains undeciphered. Next came the SLA letter, February 14th, 1974, Valentine's Day.
How about the Patty Hearst kidnapping?
Yes, the Symbionese Liberation Army had just kidnapped Patty Hearst. The letter discussed it, made a weird claim that SLA spells sla, supposedly an Old Norse word for kill. It was signed simply, a friend.
Authentic.
Highly debated. The FBI reportedly believed it was not from the Zodiac, despite some handwriting similarities. Most researchers doubt this one.
Then the Citizen card in May 74.
May 8th. A postcard expressing dislike for a newspaper ad promoting the movie Badlands, which was based on the Starkweather Fugate killing spree.
Criticizing it as
Murder glorification, signed a citizen. Again, some handwriting overlap, but authenticity is widely questioned. Seems unlike Zodiac's usual tone. And the last in this 74 burst, the Red Phantom letter, July 8th.
targeting a newspaper columnist.
Yeah, specifically Count Marco Spinelli, a society columnist at the Chronicle known for his sharp tongue. The letter demanded his column be canceled.
Signed the Red Phantom.
Initials RP on the envelope, signed the Red Phantom, red with rage. The handwriting was clearly disguised.
So, authenticity debated here too.
Initially, yes. Some, including Inspector Tosi, doubted it because of the disguised hand and different target. However, FBI analysis found enough underlying consistencies in style and formation that the general consensus among many investigators now is that it probably was the Zodiac trying a different persona or disguise. Okay, so a flurry of questionable to probable letters in 74. Then another long silence. Until 1978. A very long silence from anything even potentially Zodiac, yeah. Until April 24th, 1978. A letter arrives at the Chronicle, addressed to reporter Duffy Jennings.
And this one declared.
This is the Zodiac speaking. I am back with you. Tell Herb Kane I am here.
Directly taunted Inspector Tosi again. City Pig Tosi is good, but I am smarter.
Said he wanted a movie made about him, claimed I am now in control, and signed with thrust circle.
Sounded like classic Zodiac. Was it authenticated?
Initially, yes. A Postal Inspection Service crime lab chosen by Torsi himself over the state expert declared it genuine based on handwriting. No usable prints were found.
It's now considered fake.
By almost everyone, yes. Law enforcement, handwriting experts who later re-examined it, researchers. The consensus is that 1978 letter was a hoax.
Any speculation on who wrote it?
Lots of speculation over the years. Some pointed fingers at people wanting to reignite the case, maybe even suggesting Toshi himself, who was later temporarily removed from the case for allegedly writing anonymous letters praising his own work on a different case, or author Robert Graysmith, whose book was coming out, might have faked it. Graysmith strongly denied this and defended Toshi. SFPD eventually stated publicly that not all letters received claiming to be from Zodiac were authentic, so a confirmed fake trying to bring him back into the spotlight did another follow. Just 8 days later, May 1978, the Channel 9 letter sent to a Los Angeles TV station, KHJ-TV.
This one had weird references too. Beatles.
Yeah. The envelope had phrases like, all good children go to heaven, from a Beatles song, the Apple Corps logo, and AIC written backward, possibly meaning always in control.
What did this letter claim?
Claimed LA was in for a treat, stated he was killing again, and specifically threatened 5 public figures. The current and former LA police chiefs, Daryl Gates, Ed Davis, singer Pat Boone, Black Panther Eldridge Cleaver, and Manson family member Susan Atkins.
Quite a list. Why them?
Seemed connected to ongoing events, Manson parole hearings, SLA aftermath, LA politics. The letter also addressed actors who might want to play him in a movie.
Authentic.
Like the April '78 letter, this one is considered highly questionable, likely another hoax riding the wave of the first fake letter.
Okay, so after 78, the letters keep coming sometimes, but they're clearly fake.
Yeah, moving into the 1980s, things claiming to be Zodiac pop up, but they're generally dismissed quickly by authorities and experts.
Like the one claiming the Atlanta child murders.
March 1981, claimed credit said his passion had changed to children. Handwriting didn't match at all. Clear hoax.
What about those Route 99 murders near Sacramento in '86? Any Zodiac connection? April 22, 1986. A Laotian couple shot in their car on the highway. The MO had some superficial similarities to early Zodiac attacks. Couple in car, remote area, shooting. A local suspect named Devin Stewart Olson eventually confessed, but was never charged due to inconsistencies. Not considered Zodiac.
But then another letter tried to claim it.
May 1986, the Blue Meanies letter arrived at the Chronicle. Handwriting matched some previous suspected hoaxes, claimed 100-plus victims now, specifically mentioned his latest slaves, 2 up by Sacramento, killed by freeway, clearly trying to take credit for the Route 99 killings. Not believed to be genuine.
And one more Halloween letter in '87.
October 1987 to the Vallejo Times-Herald. This one explicitly copied opening lines from the fake 1978 letter. Threatened to drive his death machine on Halloween looking for kids. Addressed Toshi again. Police and experts immediately declared it a fake, basically calling it a simulation of a hoax letter. Just noise at that point.
So the real Zodiac's trail seems to go cold communication-wise, arguably after 1974, maybe even 1971. But his legacy, his infamy, lived on. He even inspired copycats.
He did. Most notably, in New York City in the early 1990s, a man carried out a series of shootings, sending taunting letters to police and media, calling himself Zodiac, or Zodiac the 10. He even tried to link his crimes to the original San Francisco case.
Was he caught?
Yes. Heriberto Sato was eventually caught in 1996 after shooting his own sister and then getting into a standoff with police where he confessed.
And there was one in Japan, too.
1997 in Kobe, Japan. A truly horrific case where a young boy, Joan Haas, was murdered and beheaded. A note signed Sakakibara Sato was left in the victim's mouth, containing messages like, "This is the beginning of the game," and references that seemed clearly influenced by the San Francisco Zodiac.
Who was responsible for that?
A 14-year-old boy, Shinichiro Azuma, using the alias Sakakibara, was arrested and confessed. A chilling example of the Zodiac's dark influence reaching across the globe.
So despite all these twists, turns, copycats, potential suspects, cipher solutions, the original Zodiac Killer case remains officially unsolved.
Decades later, still unsolved. Figures like Arthur Leigh Allen, Lawrence Kane, and others are debated, linked by circumstantial evidence, but none have ever been definitively proven to be the Zodiac.
According to the sources we reviewed, what's the path forward? How might it ever be solved?
The biggest hope probably lies in forensic genealogy, using DNA from the letters, if a usable profile can be fully developed, similar to how the Golden State Killer was identified. That seems the most likely avenue now.
Or maybe a deathbed confession, discovery of hidden evidence after someone's death.
Possible, but less likely after all this time. So, until or unless there's a major DNA breakthrough.
It remains one of the highest profile, most frustrating, unsolved serial murder investigations in American history.
Okay, so we've taken this deep dive into the layers of material you provided, looking at the confirmed attacks, the sheer terror of them.
And that complex, taunting dance of his communications, the letters, the ciphers, the threats.
We've tracked how his methods seem to shift, from isolated shootings to the bizarre Berryessa attack to the brazen Stine murder in the city.
Explored those enduring questions about potential earlier victims. Bates, Gaviota Beach, and the key suspects who remain forever linked, but never proven.
And we've seen how his public persona evolved, how he actively constructed his own myth, even as the authenticity of some later communications just adds more layers of doubt and mystery. It's a case that just lingers.
It really does, because that central question, who was he, remains completely unanswered.
So here's a final thought to leave you with, drawing on all this material. Consider that Christmas card sent to Melvin Belly back in December '69.
The one with the piece of Stine's shirt, but the desperate-sounding plea for help.
Exactly. It has absolute proof it's from the killer of the shirt swatch. Yet the text reads, "Please help me. I cannot reach out because of this thing in me won't let me. Afraid I will lose control again."
That tension is fascinating.
Could the true terror of the Zodiac be the possibility that beneath that calculated, cruel, game-playing facade, there was some part of him that genuinely struggled with his compulsions? Or was that plea just another manipulative performance, another calculated move in his twisted game?
Right. Was it a glimpse of humanity or just more monstrous calculation?
What is that tension between the meticulous control he demonstrated elsewhere and these brief hints of inner turmoil tell us about the true nature of this enduring, terrifying enigma? Something to think about.